Welcome back, everyone. My name is Ryan, and this is another action-packed episode of the Johnny Goodtimes Fun Factory. It's April 1st, 2016 today. That's right, kids, it's April Fool's Day. There's no bigger fools on the internet than me and my co-host, Mr. Andrew Woomer.
Well, I know I'm a fool.
Yeah, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Did you find yourself victim of any pranks today?
No, I did not.
Yeah? Okay. That's always
I didn't
good.
really interact with many people today.
Yeah.
That's always a good day.
I didn't find myself like a person actually prank me, but I did get sucked in to a prank that IGN, the website IGN, gaming website, they ran a trailer and a story for the new Star Wars Netflix series. And, I mean, they went full out on this. They wrote an article. They shot a high-production video, like Darth Maul was in it, like a Boba Fett type character. I mean, it looked completely legit. And you got to remember when I'm watching this, it's like 7:30 in the morning, and I haven't had any coffee in me. And I'm watching this, and I'm just like, holy shit. I mean, this is badass, and it's coming in like May. So I was in the middle of texting our mutual friend Casey Johnson of HowlingGeek.com. He's been on the show plenty of times because we've kind of had a dispute over this. I've been saying that they're definitely going to do a Netflix series for Star Wars, kind of like Jessica Jones or Daredevil. They've had far too much success to not do Star Wars. And he's been like, nah, it's not going to happen. So I was in the middle of texting him, and then I thought, wait a minute. I mean, it's April 1st. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, they got to the end of the trailer, and, gotcha. That sucks, man. It was such a great trailer. I want that Star Wars Netflix series so badly. I can't tell you guys how much I want to see that happen. And I say guys because we have a guest with us as well. She's not a guy, but she is our good friend Stevie, who is back for the third time on the show. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm ready for bed, but very excited to talk about various nerdy things at this point in the day.
Yeah, we've got plenty
I did go to the comic store after work, so
yeah,
that got me in a good mood.
Did you pick up anything good?
I did. I was catching up on stuff, so I had to get the latest issue of Drax, of Black Canary, Rocket and Groot, Guardians, Spider-Gwen. And I can't remember if I grabbed anything else. I have a huge stack, but I was catching up on some of my Marvel stuff and a couple DC things.
That sounds like a damn good haul. I've wanted to check out the Groot Rocket series for a while. Just haven't gotten around to it yet, but that looks and sounds badass.
It's hilarious. I mean, that's all I can say. It's hilarious.
Now, Andy, any of the titles that she just mentioned, are you... you're a big comic guy, as everybody knows. Do you have any of those?
I kind of collect. See, I'm more of a collector now. I don't read anymore. I collect Spider-Gwen. Just because I think down the road they're going to probably parlay that into some sort of feature film. So it might be beneficial to sell down the road.
That's good thinking. Very forward. Yeah, I would love to see that get worked into a film at some point. I don't know how that works with the licensing rights. I don't know if Sony owns the rights to her as well, or that could get complicated.
Confusing.
Yeah, it's a very complicated situation. But hey, I'm just happy that we're going to see Spidey back in the MCU. Well, MCU for the first time in just a couple months. Is that the beginning of May that movie's coming?
Couple weeks.
Oh my God.
Month.
Wow, I can't wait for that one.
What comes first, that or X-Men?
I think
May 6th is Civil War, and then X-Men's at the end of May.
Okay.
That's going to be a big month for comic book movies.
Indeed.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So yeah, that is something that we're all looking forward to, but we're not going to focus on the positive tonight. We're not going to talk about something that was really, really good like Daredevil Season 2. We're going to focus on Batman v Superman. I don't know, is that how you said Batman v Superman, or is it supposed to be Batman versus Superman? I'm still confused about all that. But blockbuster movie season officially kicked off last weekend as the $250 million behemoth finally arrived in theaters. First couple of days were pretty interesting, as the critical reviews that we saw before moviegoers had access to go see it was pretty negative. And mixed at best, and certainly caused a lot of outrage on the internet, which, well, I mean, we never see that, right, guys?
No,
But
never.
yeah. So right off the bat, a lot of controversy for this film. I didn't go see it until last Monday, so I was a couple of days behind. And certainly, it's hard not to let the negativity influence you. But I tried to go in with an open mind. You guys have both seen it. Andy, let's start with you. What do you think?
Well, I didn't hate it. Let me just say that. It had its good points. It had its bad points. I think they tried to do too much. It could have maybe been a little shorter, but as I said earlier in our pre-discussion, I didn't find myself going, when is this going to end so I can get the hell out of here? I never felt like that. So to me, that means I liked it. I have a very low bar.
Yeah, well, I think what you're basically saying here is that you didn't find yourself looking at your watch waiting for it to end. You weren't getting antsy. Stevie, did you have the same reaction? I know you and me have talked at pretty good lengths about this film. I think we're pretty close on how we feel about it. Did you think it ran too long?
I think it ran extremely long. I wasn't clocking it or like, oh my gosh, when is this over? Because let's face it, I wanted to see Superman get his ass absolutely handed to him. So I was just like, bring that on, like, bring that part on. But I think, like Andy said, they tried to do too much. They crammed too much into one movie, trying to set up all of the movies, whereas Marvel famously started off with the individual storylines and then brought them together. I think that it's a movie that could have benefited from a post-credit scene. It didn't have one. They could have shortened the movie and taken out some of the stuff that they tried to do to set up the next few movies, like, and I know we're going to get into this, but hey, spoilers, if anyone hasn't seen this movie, you probably shouldn't listen to
Yes,
talk
yes,
about
yes,
this.
yeah. And I should have said that right off the bat.
No,
If you
just
haven't
pause.
seen the movie at this point, turn it off. I mean, granted, and we've gone on at great lengths about the fact that the trailers gave away huge chunks of this movie, and I stand by that. I think the best parts of this movie we saw last summer when that first big trailer hit. We saw the Wonder Woman reveal. We saw Doomsday show up. But there's still some stuff that we are going to talk about. We can't avoid talking about this stuff without ruining the film. So if you haven't seen it yet, bookmark this, save it on your iTunes, and come back after you've seen it. Because none of us want to be responsible for ruining the film for you. So yeah, go ahead, Stevie.
So the scene that you and I particularly talked about was a scene that had no business being where it was in the movie, because you were coming to the movie's climax and you got derailed by a 5-minute scene of Wonder Woman watching videos of information and on metahumans that Lex Luthor had been tracking. So we see the Flash, we see Aquaman, we see Cyborg. Why wasn't that a post-credit scene? There's your post-credit scene.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Instead of going from we're at the climax, sweep back to her discovering all these other metahumans, and then her appearing in what was frankly the best part of the movie was Wonder Woman. When she appeared, she took over.
Mm-hmm.
For the little bit that she was Wonder Woman in this movie, the 5 to 10 minutes, it was phenomenal. I thought they cast her well at the beginning of it when they first announced that she was going to be Wonder Woman, and she was even better than I imagined she would be.
Yeah, not just as Wonder Woman, but as when she's at the party and stuff like that. When she's just is it Diana Prince is her alias,
Yeah,
right?
Diana Prince.
Yeah, I mean she pulled that off well too. She was sneaking around doing covert operations, stealing secrets and stuff like that. She was entertaining to watch as that as well. So yeah, great casting of Gal Gadot there.
See,
And
that
the other,
scene,
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
that scene in particular didn't bother me when it was happening. But now that you mentioned that it could have been a post-credit scene, and I left right when it was over. I figured if there was some post-credit scene, I could find it on the internet.
No, there is none.
So good, because I learned my lesson when I stuck around after Star Wars waiting for a post-credit thing.
Yeah.
So I said I'm not going to do that again. And well, nonetheless, that would have been great as a post-credit scene. Now that you mention it, but when it was happening, that didn't bother me as much as that dream sequence when he's like waiting for that file to decrypt.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you get all that dark side of mega world crap that, and I'm like trying to figure out is did this happen in the past? Is he dreaming that, I had no clue what they
I
were
still
trying to
don't
pull off with
understand
that.
it. I still don't understand that scene. I haven't figured it out. I don't know if that's something that comic faithfuls will understand.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the knee-jerk reaction afterwards to that was, at least from a couple people that I associate with, was, it's not that hard, guys. I mean, if you read this storyline, the Dark Side storyline, issues 1 through 17, I'm like sitting here thinking, you can't expect casual moviegoers you can't assume that they've read these comic stories.
Because the majority of moviegoers haven't read any
No.
comics. And I admit I am not a comic faithful to most. I mean, there are a very specific set of ones that I like. Sometimes I try new things. I'm a huge Batman fan. I can tell you, I haven't really read Batman comics. I was huge into Batman because I ran home from school every day to watch Batman the animated series, and I liked most of the movies. I won't say all of them. We know which two I'm referring to.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, that's where my Batman fandom came from, not from reading Batman comics when I was growing up. I was X-Men Go, man. I was all into the mutant thing. I wasn't really a DC comic reader growing up.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that went straight over the head of anyone that isn't like hardcore into the comics. I have no idea who Darkseid is. I don't know that storyline at all. I'm somewhat familiar with the Injustice storyline, which is what Flash coming back in time apparently is associated with. But I mean, those shoutouts and those homages and those that fan service. Why Marvel is so successful when they do it is they weave it into the story in a manner where it's not so jarring to a casual audience goer. Like, my wife has never read a comic book in her entire life, but I can take her to Civil War and know that she's going to be entertained because it's not going to be confusing to her. She would have hated this film.
Yeah, I mean, there's putting Easter eggs in it so that the comic readers get something like, oh yeah, I recognize that. And then there's ripping from pages of obscure storylines and throwing it in. And if you haven't read it, good luck trying to figure out
In
what's
a dream
going on because
sequence.
because they didn't explain it.
And when you just mentioned Flash appeared, I didn't even know that was Flash.
Yeah, I thought it was Cyborg.
All of a sudden, this guy pops out. Okay, so he's waiting for that file to decrypt. Then he has that weird dream sequence that was out of place.
Like that? Are you
And
talking
then-
about the one where it looked like he was in Mad Max?
Yeah,
That dream sequence?
yeah. And then after that, then all of a sudden, Flash appears. Obviously, he split the time-space continuum like he does in the TV show. And I didn't know that was Flash at first. I had to
Wait, I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, it went completely over my head too.
The only reason I knew it was Flash,
the JPEG.
I went and I looked for the Easter egg things, which I usually do after I go to see a superhero movie, and they said yeah, and I was like, that was Flash. I didn't even realize that when the movie was happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you have something like that happen, it just takes you out of the experience. It absolutely derails the immersion because you're sitting there asking, rather than enjoying the film, you're wondering, what the hell was that? Who was that guy? Was it the Flash? Was it Cyborg? What was he even saying? It was so hard to understand what he was even trying to
Yeah, and
communicate
it looked like Superman killed a couple of people,
in the
which
dream sequence.
yeah,
Yeah.
which he normally doesn't do. So I'm like, okay, this is a dream sequence. But then afterwards, they start to fight, and he goes, "Hey, w- we don't have to do this, Bruce." And I'm like, wait a minute, how does Superman know this is Bruce Wayne? And it took me a while to process. Okay, he could see through everything, so he could see through the mask and know it's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that too because I don't feel like they've conveyed his X-ray vision, I guess. So when he called him Bruce, I was like, how does he know he's Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
I didn't even pick up on it. I was like, how
Yeah,
does
and I
he
was
know
like,
that's him?
I spent like a few minutes going, how did he know that was Bruce Wayne? Maybe that
Yeah,
dream
I didn't even
sequence,
figure it
maybe
out.
that dream sequence was real and it happened in the past, and we're gonna find out about it. And then
No.
and then I thought about it for so long that I missed the part where he seared off half of Batman's mask. And then I looked up and Batman had half the mask on, and I'm like, how'd that happen?
You're
Because I
talking
was
about
sit, I was sitting there trying to figure out how he knew who he was.
yeah.
Oh man!
You're talking
And then
about
I
at
was,
that during the end fight when he had the metal Batman armor.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the ride home, I'm like, oh, you dumbass! He's got X-ray vision. He could see right through that mask, and he knew it was Bruce.
Yeah.
But when it was happening, it didn't register with me.
No, it's one of those things that went unexplained and good luck figuring it out. Because it had never come up at any point during the movie of it like the light bulb going off like, oh my God, I know who Batman
And I
is.
really would have liked to have known how Lex Luthor found out who Superman was.
Or
How he
Yeah,
knew
they didn't.
how did he knew to kidnap his mother?
how does
Yeah.
Lex know who Batman is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It just so many problems
like
here.
all of a sudden he knows who everyone is. And okay, the guy's a criminal mastermind, I get it, but at least, that's a big discovery that at least should have a little bit more detail than just, hey, yeah, that's right, we've got your mother.
Yeah, outside of the threatening notes he was sending to Bruce Wayne about, oh, you let your family die, and then the same to Clark Kent, that's really all we see as far as Lex directly like targeting these two.
You
But
know
yeah,
what? And they made that seem like it could have been that guy that was that lost his legs.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Well, I think it was supposed to be set up that way because he was setting him up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
but I
it
mean
was
they
supposed to
didn't
get.
explain
But I know, yeah, but
it. It could
yeah,
have easily just been that guy that was doing it.
yeah,
yeah. No, I agree.
yeah.
It was very odd.
The fact that we can't even like decipher what happened shows just how like poorly constructed that entire plot thread was. Um, Anything involving Lex, I thought was just such a negative in this film, and I'm not talking just about Eisenberg,
Uh,
who in my opinion was god awful.
yeah,
But
I hated him.
even like the
Wasn't
plot
Lex.
like the plot threads dating all the way back to the beginning of the film with this bullets in Africa storyline, which I still don't understand what the hell was going on there, but they felt the need to continue to circle back around to it.
Well, that was the only thing that they could tie Lex Luthor to make it seem like they could figure out that he was involved in all of this.
It was just so
And it was thin.
so thin. Exactly, that's the word for it. I mean, you got Lois going into the men's room talking to a senator, then she's talking to him on a bench feeding the ducks. And I'm just sitting here like, what the hell? What did I miss? Did I nod off
And then
for a
all of
couple
a sudden
seconds?
he shows up and starts singing like a songbird.
Yeah, it just
Like he didn't want to tell her anything, and then all of a sudden he meets up with her and says, "Okay, this."
Yeah, The African Bullets storyline was just like, holy shit, I'm so confused. It made me feel so stupid when I drove home from the theater. Like, what the hell did I miss? And then I talked to some of you guys, and you're like, I don't get it either. So it's just bad storytelling.
It seemed like an excuse to get Amy Adams more screen
airtime.
time.
Yeah,
Like,
to get,
the
it's like,
thing is, you can't have that many main
Well-
characters with their own storylines like that. It just, there were so many subplots that it was getting muddled because they didn't tie them together appropriately.
Well, the only way they knew that Lex Luthor was involved in any of this was the fact that he manufactured the stuff that was in that bullet.
They could have wrapped that up so much quicker.
mhm.
Oh my gosh, that could have been one scene of like she turns it in and they're like, hey, guess what? Guess where this came from? Like instead of putting this big political show around it,
Yeah.
it could have been one and done. Like, okay, the labs came back and Lex Luthor made it.
Yeah, it was basically four small little plots. It was Superman trying to clear his name from this magic bullet. It was the whole thing about the kryptonite and Lex Luthor trying to get it and Batman trying to steal it. Then there was the Batman Superman I'm gonna get you, and then there was the well, maybe there was only 3.
I can't remember. There's
a little bit of the Wonder Woman thing with
Mhm.
her trying to get the picture from the early 1900s
Yep.
of herself back from Lex.
And all of that stuff
but
that's going
that
on.
was at least appropriate because she was a character and revealing who she is.
Yeah. And all of that stuff just detracts from the thing that we paid our money to go to the theater and see, and that was Batman v Superman, which honestly in this movie doesn't stand out as the main plot. It's like Andy said, it feels just like one of many subplots.
Yeah, and the really disappointing thing about that is I will go on the record right now and say I was wrong when I said that Ben Affleck would be the worst Batman we've ever had because he may have been the best. Not, and and honestly, and this is not to take away from Christian Bale or Michael Keaton because they were all 3 different Batmans, and as I understand it from a lot of the reading I've done, Ben Affleck is actually just a later in life version of Christian Bale's Batman. It's the same Batman, but him just later, I believe, if I'm getting that correct.
Yeah.
He was wonderful. he was so much better than I thought he would be. Like he was Batman, and I liked the iteration that they did of him.
Well, they didn't ask him
where
to do a
he
whole
was
lot.
older. They didn't, but what he did was great. I liked that they did bring him as like the middle aged, like he's been doing this for so long, he's so hardened, and like Batman's killing now.
Now, was Maggie his mother?
Yes, Maggie from
Okay.
Walking Dead was his mom. I was cheering.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, I think that's Maggie. And then I said, you know what? I'm not going to look it up just because I want to be surprised tonight. Okay, good.
That's awesome.
I looked it up in the theater. I just grabbed my phone.
Now,
I was like, I swear to God, Maggie.
Now, in this version of Batman, his father survived and then got killed in the thing that Superman did in the last movie.
No, I think he died in the alley, didn't he?
Yeah, he died in the alley.
No, they made it seem like he was.
No, that was that was like just someone who worked for him, probably like a top executive.
Okay. See, I was like, I think that's his father in that building, and that's why he's running. And then that was why he was so pissed off at Superman, because Superman killed his father in that building crash,
No,
and not in that he survived the alley.
No, I never didn't
I'm
get
gonna
that
look
impression.
that up. I'm gonna look that up.
I will say that I liked how they started the movie off by starting it how the awful Man of Steel ended, the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yes.
Oh, that was
But
bad.
from
It was
Bruce's
so bad.
vantage point, I did enjoy that. How they showed it from his point of view.
Yeah, the special effects were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. And
That's
just to show that Superman, as self-righteous of an idiot as he is, look at how much collateral damage he caused, and they still erected a statue for him. So, and it's funny because, like,
I think
to
that
me, the
statue
biggest
might have. I thought that statue might have been there before that, and then people were
it was
starting
like
to doubt maybe they shouldn't have that
it
statue.
no, the statue was built after because it was a memorial for everyone who died
Oh,
in that
okay.
whole scene.
See, the
So
fact
like
that
when
I
it
don't know that, that's a problem with this.
Mhm.
That should
yeah,
have been clearly
Yeah.
in my mind. I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe that statue was there before all of that happened, and now they're starting to second guess it after all this happened. Kind of like what's going on with Civil War.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, okay, well now they realize, okay, this guy can cause some serious shit.
Yeah.
Maybe we should.
That's a fantastic point, Andy, and one that I never even thought about. Given how hard Zack Snyder and the writers go to make that point, that should have been crystal clear. It really would have driven the point that they were trying to go home. And it's just one more thing that they really screwed up with Superman, which it seems like everything Superman in this movie sucks.
Because they've made him such a one-dimensional character.
Yeah.
The like Man of Steel was what, like 3 hours long, and it was boring as hell because
Mhm.
they've created this character who has no personality. And even one of my friends I was texting with after we both saw it, and he's a huge Superman fan, and he was like, yeah, his self-righteousness was starting to get on my nerves too, where he just doesn't see the hypocrisy of the whole thing of like, look, like you guys are both vigilantes. You're just the political hero of it. Whereas Batman is dark and gritty and takes a different approach. So it's frowned upon. It's like, look, like you're out there above the law too. Like, don't act like you're not. Like, do you have a police badge? No. You're a vigilante too. You just happen to have superpowers, and the other one's a billionaire.
Well, the way that you can maybe put it into Marvel terms is think of it like Daredevil and the Punisher, where the
Yeah,
Punisher kills people and Daredevil doesn't.
right. That's a
So
great
Daredevil
point.
would be Superman in this analogy, and Punisher would be Batman.
Mm.
I mean, it's
Batman
not as
usually doesn't kill. It's
it's
just
not
how
as
he is.
cut and dry as that, but that's how
No, it
Superman
isn't.
could get off with his holier than thou.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's interesting you make that comparison considering how Daredevil season 2 just came out, and you compare that. Now, Stevie, how far into Daredevil are you?
Oh man, I'm long
Okay,
done.
okay, so we're all good. So just another spoiler warning: if you haven't checked out Daredevil, what the hell is wrong with you? Watch that right now. Hit the pause button. Go and burn through those 12 episodes, or is it 13?
13.
Okay,
13.
13 episodes. It's outstanding television, arguably the best thing on Netflix right now. But we don't want to ruin it for you. But so spoilers from here on out. How much more powerful was the scene on the rooftop with Daredevil and Punisher talking morals and what it's like to be a vigilante than anything that we saw in the 2.5 hours of Batman versus Superman?
They had a huge opportunity in that end fight scene to bring it to that, or even when he went after him and ripped apart the Batmobile, which he should have taken a beating for doing that.
Mm,
Come on, he messed up his car.
yeah.
But they had two huge opportunities right then and there to parse that all out. They sort of did it at Lex's party for just a moment as Bruce and the reporter, but it was so like, one or two quips back and forth, and then they were off on their own business.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like
it
they
turns
missed that
out
opportunity.
that all that needed to happen was they have the same a mother with the same name, and then all was forgiven.
I mean
They
that
finished
that's
with that.
that's I mean just my knee-jerk reaction.
I was like,
is that
okay, that's it.
it's the worst
All of a sudden-
conflict. It's the
All
worst.
of a sudden, he's about ready to do the coup de grace, and then he asks, "Why did you say Martha?" and then he said, "That's my mother's name," and then he gets up and goes, "Well, Martha's not dying today,"
Oh,
or
jeez.
Well,
whatever.
the funny, like,
And I'm like,
seriously,
okay, that's all it took.
if my mom was like kidnapped, I wouldn't be like, you have to save Pam. I'd be like, save my mom. Like, and he's going, Martha, Martha. I'm like, who calls their mom by their first name, you freak, and expects him to empathize with that? And then Lois Lane's like, it's his mommy.
Oh
Go
god.
save her. Like,
Yeah, it has to go. It has to go down as one of the worst conflict resolutions in the history of movies. You could have had them play rock paper scissors, and it would have had just as much emotional impact. It was just so bad, and I had been tipped off beforehand that that's what ended the fight. So I knew what was coming, but that didn't make it suck any less. It just was so bad.
there was like, I see what they were doing where they were trying to humanize him to Bruce of like, look, it's not just some alien. Like, he has a family and he runs the same risk that I do every day. Wearing the mask is to protect the ones that you love and the ones that are close to you. That's why you do it. And that puts them on even ground. But they failed at drawing that distinction. Like, it was just an awfully painful scene to watch.
It was just laughable.
But it was funny because when he first came after to like seek him, when Superman first came to Gotham to seek out Batman to be like, hey, dude, like, you got to help me. They got my mom. Why wasn't the first thing out of his mouth like, hey, truce for like timeout, truce, dude,
Yeah.
Lex has got my mom. Like, let's move. Like, I need your
Let's
help.
work
Like, he's got my
together.
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead he just like came after him and doesn't say a damn word about why he's there.
Well, he was stressed out because he could hear that egg timer with his super hearing.
Okay, well then maybe you're not suited to save your mother.
Literally a goddamn
Get your head in the game.
egg timer. Lex had a fucking egg timer that he was...
All the technology in the world, and he has a kitchen timer.
I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. But honestly, this version of Lex Luthor, it fit perfectly because everything about this Lex sucks.
I didn't
Well-
find it to be Lex Luthor. I was like, I don't think this is him.
Well, and I'm still confused. Is it Lex Luthor or is it his son? Because I've heard conflicting reports. He's identified as Alex Luthor at some point, so some people are saying that this is actually... So this is his son? This isn't like the Lex Luthor that Gene Hackman played?
Oh, so it's a different guy?
Yeah, it's his son. Is that, Andy, you know comic books better than anyone I know. Is that accurate?
I don't know.
It's just another problem, though. We don't know what the hell is going on with this movie.
It was just
I think it's the regular Lex Luthor.
Well, that's a huge crime then, because that's one of DC's most storied and iconic villains. That's Superman's version of the Joker, and this is honestly the best treatment that he is going to get.
According to the DC Wikipedia page, Lex Luthor's name is Alexander Luthor.
So that is the Lex. The big baddie is this version played by Jesse Eisenberg. That's terrible.
Barf.
Well, maybe not.
Well, anyway, he was awful. I would make a case that in a movie where I disliked at least half of the film, he was easily the worst. With that crazy piano music that would accompany him whenever he was on screen, to all of his like little nervous spastic tics, the up and down way he talked, he kind of sounded like a cross between Ledger's Joker, a parody of that, and like a little old lady. Oh, what a strong grip! You wouldn't want to pick a fight with this guy. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Who talks like that? He's supposed to be a bad guy.
It's like they were almost trying to give him, like you said, like with his little tics and stuff, and how he's obviously very socially awkward, and I think they were trying to create like the mad genius, but they just created like a really obnoxious rich boy.
He just overacts every scene.
See, you bring up the scene where he was socially awkward there, Stevie.
When he was given like the speech.
I thought that was one of his better moments. because it did kind of give you a window into how, you saw the crowd's reaction. You could see
See,
people.
because he wasn't socially awkward in the party, though.
Well, you get people in front, like give a speech. I mean, plenty of people that are smooth
That's
talkers
true.
one on one. But I really liked that scene. I liked the scene where he was in the pool, the regeneration chamber or whatever, and you could kind of see when he first went in there. You could kind of see the wheels turning. I thought he did well in that scene, but the rest of it, it was just so. I felt like they were just screaming at me. He's crazy. He's crazy. Look how crazy this guy is. The scene where he put the glass of whatever it was on Holly Hunter's stand when she was there, I thought that scene was really weird too. Like her reaction to that, I couldn't tell if she had drank it, if it was poison.
No, what she was realizing, because it was labeled the granny's
Yeah,
iced tea
Yeah,
or
and she had
whatever.
mentioned that
It was
earlier.
her realizing, like, oh shit.
yeah.
That was her, oh shit, like,
Now,
I'm
would
fucked
Lex
moment.
Luthor's first appearance in comics, would that have been 1986?
Oh, I
It
would
would
have
have
thought
been
it'd be
earlier than that,
way
right?
earlier than that. That was after the first Superman movie was made with Christopher Reeve, and he was in that.
All right, because the wiki page here says that the first appearance of Alexander Luthor was 1986.
Okay, so this has to be the kid then.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to look that up too.
That's an
Jesus, now
that
now I'm doing research
yeah
on a
for
movie that should have just told me all this stuff.
yeah
He
Here's
did
what
mention
I'll.
his father once.
yes, which I
He
thought was
did.
very, they didn't go anywhere with it. It was just such a casual when he
Mention, yeah.
when he
Yeah,
wasn't hitting me,
yeah, it was basically like, oh, daddy gave me the company and he wasn't joking about this nonsense.
yeah, it's just
um, but here's what I'll say about Jesse's performance. I don't like the guy at all as an actor, as a human, anything.
Neither do
I
I.
thought his acting was good. I just don't think it was appropriate for this character the way he pulled him off. I think he played a great psycho, sociopath, neurotic, every narcissistic, whatever you want to put into him. He
yeah.
nailed those personality types. He brought those to life. And like you said, like, I'm not knocking his speech. I'm just saying, like, the way he comes across is obnoxious, because it's not befitting of that particular character and what we know of that character.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
mean. It
Yep.
went from one extreme to another just in
it,
the
he,
snap of
he
a
was
finger.
playing. If it was another movie and you put him in as the bad guy, I probably would have enjoyed it. I just didn't enjoy it for this movie. Like, I thought his acting ability was good, actually, as far as playing someone who's severely unhinged. I just didn't think it was appropriate for this particular role that he was playing. Any other, no name villain, he would have been fine.
Yeah,
Just
well,
not Lex Luthor.
supposedly he originally auditioned for the part of Jimmy Olsen, and the guy who got shot at the beginning, that is Jimmy Olsen. That's with Lois Lane in the desert. So that was the part he originally auditioned for, but then they convinced him to try out for Lex. That was a bad move. Just by whoever made that decision, it was just a really bad casting choice.
They should have
Yeah,
gone back and gotten the guy from Smallville.
Yeah.
so
He was
now all
good.
of a sudden Jimmy Olsen's a CIA agent.
Yeah, I thought that was so strange. And granted, my knowledge of the Superman universe is very limited, basically limited to what I saw in the Christopher Reeve movies. And so that's the only Jimmy Olsen I know. So I thought it was very strange because when you see the photographer there with Lois Lane, you're like, there he is. It's Jimmy Olsen. Oh wait, he's dead,
I didn't
and he's
even
an
think
FBI
that.
agent.
I had to read the Easter eggs
Yeah.
for me to even know that was Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, it was, and he's DOA as far as the DC cinematic universe is concerned. So they kind of cut ties with him rather early.
Yeah.
Don't bring him back. You can bring anybody back from the dead. It's a movie.
Yeah, well, they brought General Zod back, kinda. So
Yeah, sorta.
what while we're on that subject, what did you guys think about the inclusion of Doomsday in this movie?
I I don't know. I thought it
Yeah,
showed off Wonder Woman's particular brand of badass,
Yeah.
so that was kind of rad. She's the
Yeah, I didn't
lasso and everything.
know what villain would they have used otherwise. Well, maybe they could have just left it with Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, it would have been like if they brought Dormammu into Civil War in a couple of weeks. Don't fit.
yeah, it just seemed like a strange choice, especially given how important Doomsday is to the DC universe. I mean, that's one of their big bad guys, on par with like a Magneto or Doc Ock or something on the Marvel side. I mean, he's a major bad guy in that, right up there with Lex. And you go and waste him in the first movie in such a small role. I mean, he almost felt like an afterthought in this.
Yeah, there were a lot of different characters that they could have used that are still huge. Like if you wanted someone big, like you
It
you,
it
you had
seems
your
like
pick of any number.
it seems like they're
Needed a
they're
big
gonna put
guy.
all their eggs in the dark side basket.
Yeah, if you're judging that dream sequence, yeah, Darkseid. And again, I'm clueless when it comes to Darkseid, but people seem very excited about that. People that know a lot more about the DC universe than I do. So who knows? I mean, it can only go up from here because, in my opinion, this is a very shaky start for this planned Justice League DC universe. If they plan on getting something together that rivals what Marvel has done, this isn't a great start.
It
Yeah,
doesn't seem
because
like they're targeting the same audience either.
Oh, it's a very different film. I mean, it's much
Yeah,
darker.
that wasn't Jordan didn't understand anything that was going on. Like that wasn't a take your kid to see it movie.
Yeah,
He didn't get it.
I'm a grown man and I don't get half of it.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
yeah,
He
I
was
mean,
asking so many questions. I'm like, I don't know.
I wish I could
well,
answer.
they
Mom, who
definitely
is
went
that?
out
Why
of their
would you?
they definitely went out of their way to like just drive the point home that they need to get everyone together.
Mm,
I mean,
yeah,
the Flash breaking through, saying you got to get everyone together, and then he mentioned it to Wonder Woman at the funeral.
mm,
We
yeah.
just need to get everyone together.
The 45-minute
Okay.
funeral.
So apparently, they're going to get everyone together.
It seems very important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they keep
Get the gang back
yammering on
together.
about it.
Yeah, I'm just glad somebody at LexCorp took the time to make that like little PowerPoint presentation and did the logos for each of the superheroes and everything because that guy deserves a graphic design award because they went all out. It's better than any presentation I've ever put together.
I was like, wow, they all have their symbols
Who
and
who does a logo? I mean, that's right from LexCorp. He just go down to like his graphic design department. He's like, this guy is really, really fast. Here, I'll show you the video. He's at a
give him
convenience
lightning.
store. How about something fast like lightning? This guy's underwater. We could call him Aquaman.
Yeah, make him an Avi so we have a social media presence.
I thought the Aquaman video was by far the worst of the little segments. I mean, the Flash one kind of made sense. Wonder Woman with the picture
Yeah,
was
he's
kind of
just
cool.
like hanging out in like
Yeah, he's in like some kind of underwater grotto.
the sunken ship, I think it was.
And then he's attacking the camera, and then there's like a
And then
sonic
he
boom,
bolts.
and what the hell who came up with these ideas? So the answer's probably Zack Snyder. He's directing
See,
both the
now-
Justice League movies, by the way. So
I don't know, but why isn't Vinny Chase Aquaman? He's already been it.
Exactly.
yeah, good point.
Thank you for being an entourage man.
Hey, once that show ended, I ended my subscription to HBO.
Wow, you're missing out on Game of Thrones, which is where this Aquaman came from.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah?
is.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was called
He was
Drogo.
Yeah, he was badass too.
I think that's a very good casting choice, and I'm not the biggest Aquaman fan because, of course, the Aquaman I remember is from the Super Friends cartoon, and he was very lame on there. But this one, I think, has some potential. But like I said, I thought his video on the PowerPoint presentation was just by far the worst.
They were just trying to like show that he has sick flow with his hair.
And he does.
Like that merman hair.
Mm.
They gave him a very King Triton-esque look.
Now, do we know, is he getting, I assume he's getting his own film at some point, right?
Yeah, he's getting his own movie.
And I
don't
believe
remember
The
I
schedule
think
for DC is Wonder Woman is up next, right?
I think Wonder Woman, then Aquaman. Flash isn't until after Justice League. He doesn't even get
Mm,
his own movie until after Justice League.
wow, that's very bold. I wonder if he'll be an essential part of the Justice League then.
I don't know.
Yes, I
The
think
actor
the
who's playing him, I don't know. I'm so used to the show, and Grant Gustin is great as Barry Allen.
and that
I
show is
haven't
so
figured out if
good.
are they doing now the Flash for Justice League? Are they doing Wally West? Because I think it's Wally West who's in Justice League, right? It's not Barry Allen.
Not sure.
I think they're doing Wally West.
Okay. Well, then now I'm not so
Jordan
upset
watches
that
the
they're
Justice League cartoon, and it's Wally
not.
on the
Now
cartoon.
I'm not. Now I'm not so upset that they're using a different actor.
Yeah, because I mean, he's already so well established, and he's done such a great job with the role.
Yeah, that show's awesome.
Yeah, I've grown to like it more than I like Arrow at this point. I think it's better. I think it tells more interesting stories right now. I love the Flash. I can't even wait for the DVR. I have to watch it live.
The crossover with Supergirl wasn't so great, but
I didn't watch it. I didn't check out Supergirl, so I'm kind of lost on that.
Yeah, I haven't watched Supergirl either. I watch too many shows as it is. I still
Yeah.
have to watch last week episode of Flash and Arrow.
Mm,
Arrow's making me mad too. Felicity's getting on my nerves.
same. That's not gonna change this week, so.
Oh, damn it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing special. It's okay though. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't get to watch those shows in real time because that's the time I'm putting Jordy to bed. So
I can relate to that. So.
I watch those later.
So yeah, overall, I don't know, guys. Does anybody else have anything else they want to say about this? I mean, I don't. It's not a terrible movie, but considering the budget and all the hype and how important the two characters are, and let's face it, Wonder Woman is a secondary character here. Uh, Batman versus Superman is in the title. Those are the stars of this movie. It just didn't live up to the hype for me. I don't know. I wanted to like it, but it's okay. The ceiling on this movie is okay.
That's where I'm at. It was okay. It would have been better served as a 90-minute movie and cutting out the plot holes and some of the other extracurriculars that they try to jam in there to set up Justice League. You didn't need to take one movie to set up a movie that's 3 years down the road or however many it is away, 2 or 3 years.
Mm.
They jammed too much into it, knowing that there's more individual character movies coming before then that they could have drawn, a little bit more, get that slow burn going. We have still Wonder Woman and Aquaman before we even see Justice League. Build out some more story.
Yeah, cut the beginning. We all know what
No,
happened. We all know what happened to Batman's.
Yeah, you're not talking about the destruction. You're talking about the Batman, the kids,
Yeah,
parents getting killed.
yeah. Cut that
actually,
out.
I loved that scene. I loved the way they did it.
Yeah, that's where Zack Snyder's overly stylized style was perfect. I thought I would have
It was.
definitely
I enjoyed it.
I would have kept that in.
If,
That's
I
the
mean,
of all
but
the
if you're
times we've
looking at- if
seen.
you're looking to cut time from a movie, you could have lost that scene. That's all I'm saying. You could have cut the dream sequence where they start introducing all the dark side stuff.
I definitely agree there.
You could
I
have
would've
cut.
done
You
that.
could have cut that Flash thing
hmm
because I didn't even know that was Flash.
Cut the African Bullet storyline altogether.
And
Find a different way to make Lex the
you
villain.
would have had and then like Stevie said, show the PowerPoint stuff in the closing credits.
Yep, that screamed end credit scene to me. I as I was watching, I'm like, this belongs in the middle of the credits. It's just a terrible placement right before the climax of the scene or the movie.
It didn't even dawn on me when I was watching it that would have been the best place for it. But once you guys mentioned it, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because there's your setup for the next movies to get you excited.
Yeah.
Because when you're leaving, when we left, what was it? Winter Soldier. We got to see Quicksilver and we got to see Scarlet Witch. It gets you excited. That would have been your thing to get you excited because now you know those characters are coming.
Yeah,
Like you
and
just had Batman and Superman battling it out. You just had, Doomsday going down. You saw Wonder Woman. There's where you get excited for your next movie on your way out the door.
well, and with the Justice League being 3 years away, that's what you said. 3 years is the Justice League now.
It's 2 or 3.
Okay,
I think it's 2. In the Flash is actually 3 years
okay,
out.
let's just say it's 2 years. So really, the movie that should have been hyped in any kind of like premonition scenes, dream sequences, or a post-credit scene should have been Wonder Woman. Hype the movie that's coming up next, and
Yeah.
then just kind of use that. And then in Wonder Woman, hype Justice League, and then in Justice League, hype Flash. That's how Marvel does it. That's why the Marvel Cinematic Universe is as strong as it is. It's just so much more cohesive. It's focused. It stays on track. This movie is just wandering around lost in the woods.
Right. Ant-Man, a very independent movie introducing a new character. What's it do? Boom, at the end you get Civil War. It's
Mhm.
coming.
Yep.
And it sets it up that Ant-Man's going to be an Avenger. Perfect.
Yep. That's
You get that reward and payoff at the end.
that's
From,
the
from what I've seen, though, it seems like they're going to make the Wonder Woman movie about what happened, that it took her 100 years
yeah, that's
to
the
re-
impression I got
to,
too.
to reveal herself again.
Well, wasn't Chris Pine in the photo with her, the old
He,
photo?
yeah,
He's-
he's in the movie with
So yeah,
her.
that basically confirms that will be kind of a period piece similar to
He plays
First
her
Avenger.
lover.
He
He
plays
plays her lover.
yeah, so it's going to be like Captain America: The First Avenger. It's going to be set
Yeah.
in a certain time period, which is cool. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
I
to
think it's like
exploring
a
that.
World War One time period.
Yeah, I think that could be really, really cool. But again, that's what they should have been selling us on, especially with how strong of a reception. I mean, my theater went nuts when she had the lasso around Doomsday.
Yeah.
That was just
Everyone
like
was
perfectly
so hyper
handled.
with that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see her movie. I'm excited that Zack Snyder's not directing it.
Yes, very much.
I'm really happy that
See,
he's not
what else
directing
has
it
he
because
done? What else has Zack
I'm so
Snyder
excited
done?
for Wonder Woman.
300, Sucker Punch, Watchmen. He did that great Dawn of the Dead movie, like a reboot of that, the Fast Zombies, where they went into.
See, okay, so maybe that's why I don't hate him so much, because
Yeah.
I've never seen any of those movies.
The Dawn of the Dead one is really good, and 300 the first time you see it is pretty cool. Do not watch Sucker Punch; you will regret that. It's
I've
very
never seen
bad.
Sucker Punch, but I liked 300. But I mean, I saw it in like a big IMAX theater,
Yeah.
so like it was cool. It was a good setting.
Yeah,
It was a
I
good
mean,
movie.
I heard
It's not a
everyone
movie I've
moaning
ever
and
seen a second time, but
yeah,
it was good.
yeah. The first
Every-
time it's a special experience. After that, I mean, I've seen it probably 3-4 times. It still holds up. But it's very overly stylized. That might be the most Zack Snyder movie that Zack Snyder has ever made.
I mean,
It's the
everyone
most
was
Zack
moaning.
Snyder movie he's ever Zack Snydered.
That's a great way
Well,
to put it.
everyone was moaning and groaning when he was made the director, and I was like, why does everyone hate this guy? I don't even know what he's done.
Well, did you see Man of Steel?
Oh, he did that.
He did that.
Okay.
He did that. Yep. Now you
He's
understand.
like, all right.
Now you understand, don't you?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
those
And
poor-
Casey told me that Zack Snyder is locked into directing both Justice League movies, the first two Justice
Well,
League
you know what?
movies.
You could make changes.
I hope so, but they have to actually go and make the changes.
Well, I
It's
heard
like 5
they
million people directing X-Men.
I heard they readjusted the box office numbers, and it didn't do quite as well as they thought.
It's still gonna make a boat ton of cash.
I mean,
though.
it made a lot of money, but I
Yeah.
don't think it made as much as they initially projected.
Yeah, there was never any doubt that it was
They
going
they
to be.
projected it through the whole weekend, and I think it hit people that went and saw it Friday, told their buddies, and then it stopped it on Saturday. So the Saturday numbers weren't as good as, and the Sunday numbers, I don't know.
Well, now let me ask you guys this now, and Andy, I'll start with you. Is this a movie that you would ever consider going and seeing more than once in the theater?
No, I would not see it again.
Yeah, same. Stevie, how about you?
Boo.
Yeah.
I already have plans to see Civil War twice the day it comes
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
I'm going in the morning with a friend, and I'm going in the evening with the kid.
yeah,
I already took off work.
yeah. I don't blame you.
I bought my 6th Captain America shirt today. I sent a picture of it to the I'm going with Amy. She's Bergbird on
Oh
Twitter.
yes.
She and
Yep.
I are going, and I sent her a picture. I was like, because I needed a six Captain America shirt.
Why not? Yeah, you
Why
got one.
wouldn't
Oh,
I?
If
geez,
you get
she's a big Chris Evans fan.
Yeah, who isn't?
mm,
Hey.
yeah, it's just not this movie is not something I think it's really going to see a dramatic drop off here because the opening weekend was always going to be huge, but it's just too confusing and it's just too goddamn long to sit through a second time in the theater. I mean, I would watch it at home again. I'm definitely not going to buy the Blu-ray at this point, but if it was on FX or
Yeah.
something, I would leave it on. But I just can't. It's just too much of a time commitment for something that doesn't give you a very good return, entertainment-wise.
Yeah, and I know that Jordan won't watch it again, so I'm not going to bother buying it. I mean, there's movies that I'll never watch again, but he loves it, so I get it, and
Yeah.
he'll watch it when he wants. But I mean, you do that for the kid. I can tell you, he's not going to ask for it
No.
because it wasn't enough. First of all, it wasn't enough Batman for him because the kid loves Batman.
Yeah.
Um, but there was just too much questions the whole entire time we were at the movie. Mom, what are they doing? Who is that? What's going on? Why are they doing that? And the whole time I'm like, I don't know. My guess is as good as yours, man.
Yeah.
I wish I had an answer for you. I don't. And like the
did,
dream sequence, he's like, "Mommy, what is that?" I was like, "I don't know."
Mm.
did John see it?
No, he would have rather stuck his balls in a vice.
That's a box quote for the DVD right there. Yeah, it's just not. I don't know. Katie would have absolutely despised this film.
I mean, he had dinner with us before we left for the theater, and I mean, he would have gone just to. He had no desire at all to see the movie, and he said he was like, had a shitty day at work. Like, I just want to go home. Like, I don't have the attention span for a movie, let alone a 2.5 hour long movie, because we already knew the runtime. I was like, I
Yeah,
don't
that
have the attention
scares you.
span
That
for.
runtime scares you from the
Yeah.
get.
Well, now,
It
now,
freaks
just to
me
be
out.
fair, Civil War runs the exact same amount. Civil War is 2.5 hours too.
Well, and I'm going to go into it with the same trepidation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is it going to be too long? But also, but I also think that the three of us are all familiar enough with the Civil War timeline that we know what can be done in that time. That movie for 2.5 hours could have been better for 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? Like they didn't manage the time efficiently. Instead, they just tried to cram in all kinds of storylines when they could have drawn out, let's say, two different subplots, the Wonder Woman thing and then whatever's going on with Lex, and really brought to life the whole Batman versus Superman aspect of it because for those two being the main characters, I don't feel we got enough of either one of them.
You know, people have been talking a lot about the inevitable director's cut, which supposedly adds yet another half hour onto the 2.5 hours that the standard version runs.
Of
I
what,
was
more bullet theories?
Yeah, and here's what I think. I would like to see a director's cut that does the exact opposite of that and trims a bunch of this fat and grizzle off of this movie and condenses it down. Cut out all that shit. Cut it down to like an hour and 45 minutes because I totally think that that is doable and I think you could theoretically make a very good movie. Never going to be a great movie, but a good movie if you cut this thing down a little bit.
They were going to
Yeah.
try to jam Barbara Gordon into this. That
Oh.
got cut.
Oh God.
Why?
Eh.
So what, they were going to bring Oracle in?
No,
Well-
Batgirl.
Or no? Oh, sorry. I was thinking the wrong Gordon.
Yeah,
Like,
that.
what?
Jenna Malone, obviously, she shot scenes for that.
Oh wow. So that
Oh.
And it got cut.
that could potentially end up in the director's cut then.
It could.
Jesus.
Ugh, I don't care enough.
There was just too much going on without adding more plot threads to this thing. That would have been such a mistake. And right off the bat, you're not doing that character justice. You're doing a disservice to it by cramming it in here, and there's not enough time to flesh her out.
Yeah, I mean they could have kept it at 2.5 hours and done more focus on Batman and Superman. Get them fighting more, something, more action scenes,
Yeah, I would have loved to seen
anything.
maybe like a smaller battle between the two, maybe around the midway point. Now, granted, we did have that conflict where the Batmobile gets destroyed. I wouldn't
They
really
could
call
have
that a
done more with
fight.
it.
I would
Yeah,
have
they could
liked
have
to
done
see.
more with that.
Yeah, give us like a little bit of a taste, kind of like a warm up bout, and then circle back around to it later instead of wasting time with all this other stuff. This movie just spins its wheels so long, and then it finally gets a little bit of traction. And overall, I thought the final fight was rather short. I'm talking about the fight between the two superheroes, not
It
the Doomsday
it
fight.
was yeah, it was short, but it was good.
Yeah, it was really
Like
good.
that's what I was looking for. Like it
Yeah.
showed Batman's creativity with having to fight someone who has actual superpowers and how he got around those superpowers. It shows the genius of him um with his inventions and you know using his fortune and what have you.
Now,
Having the technology.
did they ever disclose how he knew that kryptonite was going to be Superman's downfall,
No.
on why he needed to
Oh.
get that?
No, it's no, nothing.
Wait, are you
He
sure they didn't?
he just knew that he needed to get that off of Lex Luthor, and he stole it and left that
Wait,
little
was that
bat.
was that in the information that he stole from Lex? Maybe.
Oh,
It
it could
might
have
have
been.
been. I can't
Okay.
there was so much that happened I can't remember. I
Yeah.
think it may have been. If anybody knows who's listening, tweet us and tell us.
But another thing, just no idea what happened. Sorry.
All I know is he knew that he needed to get his hands on that, and I can't think off the top of my head how he knew that he needed to get his hands on that.
Did he learn it from the Dark Side dream sequence? Maybe. Because he was there getting the kryptonite in that dream sequence. Is that where
Oh
Yeah,
he?
but
yeah,
when
he
they
was.
opened the box, there was nothing in the box.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
There were
Jesus,
like
this movie is just. I don't even know what to say anymore.
yeah.
I like his trench coat
Yeah.
in the
Oh,
Mad Max
he looks
scene.
so badass. That entire
Yeah, he
sequence
looks awesome.
was so cool. You know, in the desert. Didn't he have like some cool goggles on and stuff? It was just.
Yeah.
Man, I
And
love this
I was
version of
like,
Batman.
I was like, why is Batman just walking up to people like he's normal?
That part was kind of strange.
He's just walking up to people, yo, what up, G?
It was
Yeah,
a cool fight.
And then all of a sudden they get him in the thing, and they open up that crate, and it looked like it was just a bunch of tubes or whatever.
it
in
was like
there.
lights. They had like green
And then
Christmas
he
lights in
knew,
there.
okay, that. Then
I've
he
been
realized,
bad.
okay, this is a problem. And then all of a sudden the flying people came in.
I didn't understand the flying people at all, but all those
Yeah, I
soldiers
didn't
had
get
the
that either.
Superman logo on their shoulder.
Yeah,
And
that.
that is tied in. Now, I don't know anything about the Injustice storyline, but I have played the Injustice video game, and those guys were in there because that's where Superman is like a bad guy, and he's got this like militia, and those guys were, at least I think they were representative of that storyline.
Well,
So,
Batman must have been a bad guy in that one because Bruce Wayne was tied up in the middle. And then there were two guys, or a guy to each of his sides. And it looked like he just laser beamed both of them.
well, I think that's because Superman is bad in that storyline. Superman's a bad guy in the Injustice storyline. I could be
Thank
mistaken.
God.
At least in the video game. So yeah, Stevie, you would definitely dig that. You should play that game because he's
Did
very,
he
very bad
die?
in there. But yeah, so I think the people with Batman were the good guys, and Superman just straight up murdered them in cold blood.
Nice.
But at least he had some personality there, so I like that.
Let me tell you guys, there was a tweet that I read the other day, and it was someone. I guess they went and saw the movie, and then they tweeted it because it was Friday or Saturday that I saw it, and he said that I know I retweeted. He said that he thinks that every superhero should kill someone just once, just to see if they like it.
That's perfect.
He was on the Batman bandwagon.
I think
I was
everybody is.
cracking up at his tweets about all of it. His name's Sunny Bunch. He's a funny follow for politics and comic book stuff alike.
Well, for sure, I think you're going to be hard pressed to find anyone that was on Team Superman for this one, because everybody I've talked to, everybody I associate with, was just absolutely in love with this version of Batman. And Superman, I'm sorry, I'm just not into this version of it, especially when you compare it to Dean Cain's take in Lois and Clark. The fun version that Christopher Reeve was. And granted, I know those movies are very, very dated, but at least it looked like Superman enjoyed being Superman in those. This one just seems like Henry Cavill, it looks like it's like physically painful for him to play this role. He looks just so miserable and unhappy and moody and emo. It's just painful to watch.
Hey, and they at least found a role for Brandon Roos that's good for him.
Yes, he's great on that show. Didn't make a very Yeah, he did not make such a great Superman though. I've kind of blocked that out from memory. God, wasn't the Lois Lane in that movie terrible too? I can't remember who played her.
It was that girl who used to date Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
Kate Bosworth.
Yeah, she wasn't very good as Lois either. That movie's just really, really bad.
Well,
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Superman Returns.
Oh, I didn't see it.
It wasn't very good. You're better off. You've actually made some really smart movie choices, Andy, because you skipped Sucker Punch, you skipped Superman Returns, so you are really making some good decisions.
And I didn't see the prequels to Star Wars.
God damn, that might be your best decision yet.
Wow.
I should start consulting with you more often as to what not to go to. Wish you would have told me not to go see this one.
But then
that's not fair. It's not awful. I'm glad I went and saw it.
Normally I wouldn't go see Hardcore Henry, but if we're gonna podcast about it, I'm gonna have to go see it.
I don't know if I can handle it. It looks like it's going to be vomit-inducing.
I'm not gonna see it in 3D.
Is it even available in 3D?
I don't know.
People are gonna have episodes.
I saw this one in 3D, and my eyes can't do 3D anymore.
I thought the 3D was really subtle in this. Stevie, did you see it in 3D?
I did not. I didn't feel like spending the money.
Well, I wear bifocals now, and I just have a hard time.
2.5 hours, because I won't see Civil War in 3D either. I get migraines from, I can't wear sunglasses for more than 20 minutes at a time. So having to have the glasses on for 2.5 hours would probably kill me.
Yeah, Andy, I thought the 3D was very subtle. Obviously, when Wonder Woman leaps at the camera, you noticed it there. But did you think the 3D really stood out? I hardly even noticed it.
Yeah, I didn't notice it either.
But I kind of like that. I prefer it when 3D is more laid back. It's not in your face. I thought Star Wars The Force Awakens, the 3D and that was the same. Just very subtle. Just a couple of scenes where it's
really
Well, the thing about the 3D is it makes it seem like the people are more real. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like you're just watching a flat screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, because we weren't sure actually the first movie I saw in 3D was Jurassic World, and it just happened to be by accident that we saw it in 3D.
Yeah.
And because we thought it was going to be this cheesy, you know what you were used to when 3D movies first came out, and it was just like a gag. Because the only 3D movies I'd ever seen were in Disney World, where you're getting sprayed in the face with water and bees are stinging you in the ass through your seat because you're watching a Bug's Life 3D.
That honestly sounds like the worst ride ever.
We actually liked it. So we saw Jurassic World, we saw Ant-Man, and we saw Star Wars all in 3D. So we figured we'll keep seeing movies like those just because it does enhance the visuals. It's not chintzy.
I think the last 3D movie I saw was Friday the 13th back in the 80s. And that's when you had the cardboard glasses with the one blue lens, no, one red lens
Red.
and one green lens.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great.
So I was like, I was surprised I got my own pair of like sunglasses.
Yeah.
And then when I was on my way out, I saw the little recyclable thing. I was half thinking about, maybe I'll just take these home with me. But I put them in the recyclable.
You're a good man.
Yeah, you made the right choice. See? That's good. You can take the sunglasses off and put your bifocals back on, Grandpa.
But I think that's going to be the last 3D movie I see in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Stevie. I might just pass on Winter Soldier in 3D just because that's a long time to have the glasses. It doesn't really cause me any problems, but they're just uncomfortable to wear for that long. And,
You know what I think? Well, you know what I think is going to be cool if they do it in 3D, depending on. I'll wait until I see the previews for it. Doctor Strange. That might be a cool movie to see in 3D because of all the shit he's constantly shooting out of his hands and stuff.
Yeah, he's got like magical powers.
Yeah, I think that might be a cool one.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's coming out this fall, right?
I think in November.
I'm looking forward to kind of getting through Civil War so Marvel can kind of shift gears and really start the marketing push for that movie because I have no idea anything about that character outside of Cumberbatch playing him. So I'm really excited to see the marketing campaign they come up with for that.
He's my cousin Tyler's favorite comic book character, so I've had some nice conversations with him on holidays and stuff around it. It's my cousin that I get to nerd out with, and he's so excited, like he just can't even contain it. I only know Doctor Strange just from him being in integrated storylines. I haven't read his comics individually, but just from running into him throughout the universe and then what I know from him from the cartoons. That's where my knowledge base of him is. It's just when I happen to run into him in, Marvel events, I run into him.
Yeah, the only thing I know is back in the day when I used to read the comics instead of just collecting them, he was in the Defenders.
Cool.
Back in the day.
And that's going to be a Netflix series, right?
Yeah, with Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Iron Fist, Luke Cage.
Sign me up for that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I got nothing else to say about Dawn of Justice, guys. How about you?
No, I think we went over.
It wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen. I'll save that for the last Superman movie was the worst movie I've ever seen. It was decent. There was too much. But if you want to see a good Batman, go see Ben Affleck as Batfleck. If you want to get excited about a female superhero, if Jessica Jones or Black Widow or any of the other number of amazing female characters that people bitch don't exist, go see Wonder Woman. Go just to see like the 5 minutes of her kicking ass. That's my recommendation. Or just wait until it comes out, on HBO or on demand and watch it then.
Yeah, I think it's definitely if you at this point I would advise waiting until it's at home, just for the length alone. If you can get up during the slow parts, you can do some stuff. You can play with your pet or your kid. Do the dishes or something exciting like that during the African Bullet storyline, which I would highly advise. Just don't try and figure that one out because you're just gonna drive yourself nuts with that. But
you gotta switch laundry loads. Go when that comes on.
That's a great time to do it. But it's just I'm not trying to be too hard on the film. It's not terrible, but a $250 million blockbuster. I think I expect more. I think us as fans deserve more. I would love to see Zack Snyder distanced. I'd like to see them take his keys to the DC building away. He's just not good at this. I think he's got some kind of communication issues with his Superman that relationship just does not work. But
hey, we might get to see more Batfleck in Suicide Squad.
That would be. I heard he's going to be making a cameo in that.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. And right now, that could end up being the best DC movie of 2016, which, I mean, that's kind of a lot of egg on DC's face, isn't it?
Not necessarily.
Hey, you know what? I'm excited because it's like another Deadpool.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad is one for the grown-ups.
Yep.
I wouldn't take my kid to see that. I
No.
read the comics. There's no way I'd take him to see that.
No. I don't know. Does it have a rating yet? Is it going to be R or is it PG-13?
I can't see how they could not make that rated R just because of the characters that they're using.
Yeah, and that
Those
trailer.
are rated R characters.
And the last trailer certainly showed that they are going to be taking some of those characters to the extreme. I love what that trailer showed us with the Joker. So maybe that's going to end up kind of being DC's saving grace for 2016. I hope so.
Well, plus I wouldn't mind seeing Margot Robbie's boobies again.
there you
I was
go.
waiting for it.
That's a good.
Hey.
Oh, I got a little Harley Quinn thing today. I went to the store, and you know how you can get those mystery things where you get a character, you don't know what character it's going to be from that particular, comic or TV show. I let Jordan pick out which one. I was like, I just held up 2 bags. I said, which one has Harley Quinn in it? And he pointed at one. I said, if it's Superman, you're grounded. He was like, you're the meanest mom ever. I said, why would you give me Superman? Did you not see the movie with me last week? He was like, yeah, he's bad. And I opened it up, and my face lit up like Christmas. He was like, what is it, Mom? He was like, is it Bane? I was like, it's Harley.
That's what you wanted. That's a good kid.
He did good.
Yeah, he's not grounded
He's
this
gonna
week.
go on my desk at work.
That's awesome. Well, the podcast has a somewhat happy ending after all the negativity, but Andy, why don't you tell us how we can find you on the internet with your Twitter address?
At Come Wicked.
Cool. Stevie, how about you?
At Latangare. Don't even bother trying to spell it. I barely can spell it.
It's much more difficult than it sounds, but I still love the fact that you went back to that one because you've changed it up a couple of times, but that one is just a classic.
I try to keep it punny with my hockey players.
Yeah. And he's playing really, really well, so it's a good choice.
I know, so I got to keep it up.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
I'm just saying, I changed it back, and look what happened.
I remember when I used to hate him.
Yes, well, we all went through a stage where we were not huge Chris Letang fans. At least I was. I was very harsh on the man for quite a while.
Oh, so was I.
But he's
earning his money for a bit.
He is unbelievable right now. Arguably the best defenseman, offensive defenseman at least in hockey at the moment. Apologies to Erik Karlsson, but it's true. But I'm very excited for the playoffs.
So am I.
See what they can do. So. But I'm at Rye Hamner, just all together, and be sure to check out my website, GameBlock. Don't forget the hyphen in the middle of that because I don't know where it will take you. Game-Block for all your video game news, and now we've got some movie stuff up as well. If you want to check out my thoughts, my written thoughts on Batman vs. Superman, those are posted up on the site right now. So that's all we got for you tonight. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Take it easy.